So
you
one has
mentioned,
to.
yeah, you mentioned the following nature's framework. Given the political situation, siguro if we manage to coordinate all these actions, what interventions can you suggest
Are we talking?
along the line of nature's framework to stop the flooding? Sa Cagayan
Well,
muna. Yeah, sa Cagayan
sa
muna.
Cagayan muna is all of the studies in the last few decades have pointed to reforestation. One have pointed to putting up detention ponds at several elevations. At the upper levels, you can have detention basins with some dams and going down. You have a series like in Marikina. The suggestion was to put a detention basin between the Angat and the lower reaches of the Marikina. But that would, of course, entail the government having to buy up enough land to create a detention basin and a smaller dam below Magat. The alternative would be smaller dams above Angat. So if a lot of these areas you have the dams, you can add more basins and dams above. You can add more basins and dams below, so that at each elevation you're detaining water, so it doesn't go down
All the
very
way
fast
down.
or immediately. Yes. So the thing is to detain the flood waters, because we have eliminated the natural system of forests which used to detain all of the water before it came down.
Watershed.
So we're paying for our sins by having to toss billions of pesos in this very hard structural system, and we have to do this. Otherwise, we have to wait 30 years to reforest all of our mountains, and it will. The long-term solution is, of course, reforestation and management of our upland resources. And the short term would be we have no choice but to throw money at all of these hard engineering solutions. There's
a suggestion. Nakapareho daw sa Fort Bonifacio, you build an underground water catchment. I think it's similar to the polder in Netherlands. But you need a lot of pumping stations. Feasible ba yun? Kasi hindi naman naalis dyan sa mga Provident Village yung mga tao. You've heard them, they've been interviewed. Ayaw naman doon. So, given these realities, yun ang suggestion binabagit na why don't we build yung water catchment underneath na maraming pumping station. Is that feasible?
Yes, there are 3 scales to address the problem of flooding, because flooding occurs at 3 scales. One is at your neighborhood or district level. The second scale is at your town or municipal level. And the third level is the entire watershed, which Cagayan is 40 times the watershed of Marikina. Marikina watershed is larger than entire Metro Manila. So in the individual areas where you have localized flooding, yes, you can have BGC. That's the Marikina River Basin watershed, which is larger than the entire Metro Manila. And that all of that, you note that colored area, since we've denuded it, all of the water flows down and affects over 1 million people immediately. So you can address urban areas and urban flooding with detention cisterns like the one in Fort Bonifacio, or at a smaller scale by detaining water in your individual roofs and houses. And then you have the town or city level where you could also have more parks with detention basins inside. But once you get to that to this scale, which is the watershed level, you see all those blue lines that go up the mountain. Those are the rivers. And what can be done is to detain at each elevation in several steps before it goes down and contributes to all of that flood water coming down into the Marikina Valley. So there are 3 major types of flooding and 3 major scales at which all of this can be addressed. And that can be the local ones at the city level can be addressed by the LGUs. But the watershed is much too large and costs much too much money. It has to be a national effort. It has to be national government, because no one has enough money to throw at this thing except national government. And so it has to be a reprioritization of our budgets.